Hello and welcome to the 2010 Villagers podcast, episode 22. Very, very special show coming up tonight. Should be a really, really good one. We've got an absolute North Ferriby United legend joining us. Yes, we're really, really looking forward to this one. We're not going to say who it is just yet, but
no, it's not Greeny. You'd be pleased to know.
We've got an in-depth interview lined up again. Obviously, people will have seen Tillo's video, which we all thought was a really, really good one as well. Our last episode. But before we get into that, we have got a quick bit of breaking news actually, and that is that East Hull have renamed as
rebranded.
I can't even remember what they've rebranded as.
FC Humber United.
Yes.
Can I just talk about the name for a second?
FC Humber United.
Right. I was just waiting for a bit of... Yes, I was waiting for a green light there. Right, can I just say, right, that I'm being professional now and I'm being courteous about people's feelings, you know, through my new reflectiveness. I don't like the name. I think it's cheap and tacky. That's my constructive criticism, and I think you could do much better than a name than that. I mean, and also about Humber United, you're not really based anywhere, are you? You've not really got. You're not going to get many people from a certain place going, "Oh, I'm going to support them because I'm based there." Come on.
It's weird. It's a weird one.
I've briefly seen the video where Dino definitely wasn't struggling to read off a script. And I think, you know, he bangs on in that about Hull and black and whites and red and whites and pride in the city and all that. But if last season was anything to go by, obviously we don't know yet. But if they're going to be playing out of Goole, it's not really anything to do with Hull, is it?
Well, that's what I've said. I've said they've probably changed the name and just rebranded it so they can get away with playing at Goal without having the piss taken out of them. The fact that they're a whole team playing out of Goal. So,
well, should it not be FC Ooze United?
Why does it have to be FC something United? It just seems like they're copying FC United of Manchester, doesn't it?
It could be FC United of Hull, let's face it.
It's unimaginative. I can't stand that name, FC United of something, where people go, we should be called that. No. FC United Manchester is that. I understand that.
Yeah.
But to jump on that sort of side of it, call yourself Humber United FC.
Yeah.
The FC doesn't have to come first. You're not Continental.
You're not FC Bayern Munchen.
Can I just make one very important point?
Yes.
Walker, if we go all the way back to episode 1, you said, as long as we survive longer this podcast than East Hull. We've officially achieved it, mate, because they're no longer East Hull.
Technically we have, yeah. Can we also say congratulations because they are top of the league as well on their website? Top of the league is FC Humber United. No wins, no losses, no points.
What a run.
Congrats.
Fantastic.
So what happens if the league does restart? Are they allowed to restart under the name of FC Humber United?
No, I believe they'll restart still under East Hull because this application that's been put in is obviously from next season. So assuming we restart, which let's face it, all of us are resigned to the fact that we won't. I'm assuming, not that I have official confirmation, but they will still go as East Hull for the rest of the season and then start as FC Humber United for the next season.
Yeah, right. Waltham said on the Facebook group that he wasn't allowed to change your name halfway through a season. So obviously a man who's got previous with that intention.
Well, maybe their new chairman's got a bit more professionalism than Mr. Waltham had. Maybe that's why he's got it over the line.
Let's hope.
I'm going to wish them luck. I always want to see clubs do well.
You've got to wish them luck.
Yeah, I mean, apart from 2 games, buy tickets online.
At the end of the day, East Hull and what is now Humber United doesn't really ring any sort of resemblance to us now. It was a big thing because of the Waltham link, and now that's gone. And now they're a new entity. They're just sort of like a new club in the area. We just move on. They've just become a Hall Road, basically. They've become another Hall Road, and that's not being offensive, but that to us is how it's sort of become.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna let our guest know that he can.
Are you doing it?
Join the meeting.
It is a very, very special guest.
Greeny.
Yes,
it is Greeny. No, it's not.
No, we've pulled off a good one here.
I don't know how we've managed it, but yeah, the legend himself has kindly allowed himself to come on. So this will be fantastic. Thank you to everybody for watching all of the other interviews we've had. The Tillo one, Easty, Sean, Dougie's has just surpassed 300 views, boys, which for us is absolutely fantastic, isn't it? So,
and thank you to the guy who dug out Tillo with the picture of the golf trousers.
Yes,
that was fantastic.
That picture shall live on. That picture shall definitely live on. But yeah, it's been fantastic as we wait for our guest. Have you messaged him, Samuel?
Yes.
He has. Oh, here he is.
Here we go. Right, I shall admit now to the.
This could be
here we go.
Here he is.
Hello.
Mr. King, how are we?
Mr. Liam King, former Ferriby captain, Wembley winner, absolute legend of North Ferriby United, joins the show tonight. How are you doing, Kingy, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm just trying to figure this out, this Microsoft Teams.
Are you not good with technology, Kingy?
No, horrendous.
Well, we can see you and we can hear you, so that's a good start.
I want to get all four on screen, all three are on the same screen.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know
myself.
If you don't have the app, you might not be able to do that, unfortunately.
Yeah, all right, then we'll leave it.
Well. But yeah.
No, thank you very much for agreeing to come on. We wanted to get some more lads from the past on, really get some memories going. So we've got hopefully quite an interesting and in-depth interview to do with you. But first of all, we'll just ask how's things in lockdown? How's the family and everything?
Yeah, it's not great for anybody, is it? But everyone's got their own circumstances. But like I said, it's been good because me and my missus are both off work. We're both obviously not allowed to work because of our job, but it means we've had more time with our little one, Luna. So that's been a positive. That has been a positive, but obviously the negative is we're both not working. So yeah, but it's like you said, you got to make the best out of a bad situation, really, I suppose. But yeah, it's hard work for everyone, isn't it? And the quicker everyone pulls together, the quicker it'll get sorted.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it's just getting through it. So we're going to start off. Going to go right back to the beginning with you. So first of all, I want to ask. So what was your earliest memories of football, and how did you get into football as a kid?
I remember. Obviously, I was just mad for it. Obviously, on the back garden that when I was little, and I always remember my mum and dad looking for something to get me into. So obviously, back in the day, there were no toddler football sessions or anything like that. It would just you'd get to 7 years old, and then you could start looking for a team. But I think from my vagues, I think my mum and dad had me training with this older team. And I think I was 5, and I think they were like under 9s or something like that. It was something ridiculous. And they used to like, I think they used to just take pay out of me a bit. They used to call me Keno because I just used to run round and smash everybody.
You carried that on in your career, mate, as well.
but yeah, like I said, I ended up getting a game for them. Actually, that was my first game, but I think it was an under 9 side. So, and then it went from there, and then I ended up playing for my local team called Mansfield Miners, and I was playing 2 years younger there. I don't know how they managed to nick me in, but then it just went from there. It was just relentless every week. Well, that's what we were mad for. So
fantastic. Who was sort of like your footballing heroes growing up, Kingy?
Oh yeah, it's Roy Keane for me all day. Yeah, he was my favourite. I think it's obvious why. I just liked his passion for it. obviously he was aggressive, wasn't he? And he didn't actually get as much credit as he deserved for how good he was actually on the ball as well. Like obviously he wasn't. He was actually quite a good. He was good with the football as well, and he could score goals. He's basically an all rounder, which I don't think there's many of him about anymore, is there? So yeah, basically the likes of him. Like I said, I was a Man U fan. I liked them all, but he sticks out for me. Sticks out.
Fantastic. So obviously we know you were Ferriby captain later along the line, and we'll talk about that. Do you think sort of like your leadership skills on the pitch sort of developed from watching Roy Keane as a youngster?
No, I don't think that. I don't know. Every captain's different, aren't they? I mean, I think I was more. I mean, you'd have to have lads who come on when you do your things and ask them, but I think I was just more by kind of try and lead by example sort of thing. I wasn't particularly very busy off the pitch and sorting everything out and you know what I mean? Like you get some that outspoken, but I think everyone just knew I'd get on with it on the pitch, and I obviously wanted to win, and there's nobody else losing more than me. And I think obviously that was probably evident to the players who, and we were lucky at Ferriby when obviously when we were all there, that there were a lot of people similar, like winners. So
fantastic.
It was a good matchup for everything, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah, it was.
Perfect fit for the club as well, really, because that was what it wasn't. A club that had accept people running around and working hard, and sometimes things not coming off for them, then it kind of spurred the team on. So yeah, it was good.
Fantastic. Go on, Ash.
How does it mean that? So you started your career at Rotherham. So what are your memories from that time period?
Yeah, just got started when I was about, I think it was 10, 11. Then while I played for my local team, and then I went to them, and in the end, when I got to under 12s, I think it was 13s. Like back in the day, you had to go and play for Rotherham all the time, and then just basically went all the way through the youth system, and then did my YT there. I had to move up there in digs, which was obviously a big move, because obviously you move away from your mum and dad. And then I managed to get. I think we did 2 years pro, but like I said, I played. I think I only played 9 or 10 games, and yeah, it were obviously I enjoyed it, and it was a good experience. But like I said, obviously I didn't kind of met the cut for that sort of level, so I got obviously moved on, and then obviously my non-league started. I went on loan to Altrincham actually. That was my first bit. They was in the conference. It went really well there. But yeah.
I was just going to ask about Altrincham. Was there a big difference then from going to Rotherham and then going down into a non-league game? How did you find that transition?
Well, to be honest, because I'd not played that much for Rotherham first team, and I'd not played that many games, it was just obviously non-league's different to league football, I think, because it's a bit more. Well, it was a bit more physical, and there's not as much quality. So when I did go into non-league, it was men's football really, and Altrincham was scrapping for the life down at the bottom, and I did really well there. I think I played up to 20 games, I think 25 games, and I should have signed there end of the season, and it just all went. There was a lot of stuff went on in the summer, and then I went on to Matlock from there, and basically had to work my way back up.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so you, I think, obviously you're very well regarded, obviously at Ferriby, but also at Matlock as well. I think right, you're saying you played like 200 games or something like that for Matlock.
Yeah.
Obviously connection as well. You played in that team with when Ross Hanna was there. banging the goals in that side as well. So it must have been what did you get out of your time at Matlock? And it must have been an enjoyable part of your career.
Loved it, yeah. I loved it, and like you said, it were. I met some really good friends there as well, and we're still in touch now. And obviously, Ross, I'm best mates with Ross, and it was when he was on fire as well. I think he scored 50 goals in a season. There was some Ant Wilson were there, come on loan. Was a unbelievable striker.
Player he was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like I've always said about him. If he had the right brain, he'd have been a league player.
Yeah.
And in terms of, he's a nice kid, and I think he's, like you said, if he had a bit more guidance there, he'd have gone. There'd have been no stopping him, because he kind of had everything, really, didn't he?
He was unlucky with injuries as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. And like I said, but yeah, I enjoyed it at Matlock. It was really good. But I was ready for a change. Hence why obviously I went to Ferriby. It wasn't anything to do with money or anything like that. It was I just needed a change, and obviously Bill rung me up, and I just thought it was the right thing to do. And obviously when I walked in that pre-season, I thought, oh, they're having a go here, because there was a good squad there, weren't they? So
there was,
and it just went from there.
Fantastic.
Yeah, well, that's sort of touched on my next question. I was going to say sort of how much of an influence did Billy have in the move, and what were your first impressions, of the club, meeting people like Les and just the whole environment around the place when you first got there? Well,
obviously, I could have. Matlock wanted to sign me as well, to carry on there, and I just remember obviously Bill ringing me up, and we all know Billy. When he wants something, he doesn't seem to get it, doesn't he?
It's unbelievable like that, isn't
it? He will, and I just think obviously I remember going to Donny Races, and he was texting me saying, "Will you meet tomorrow and we can have a discussion?" And obviously, in non-league, some don't operate like that. They just like ring on the phone, "He'll rate not come down and sign." So I was like, "Oh, all right then." Every night.
He's persistent, isn't he?
Yeah, every night. I met him in it was services on M18 services, and he turned up with Les. And obviously, I was sat there. I'd probably only been in a few hours. I've been down Donny Races the day before. And he just obviously told me what they wanted, the club were doing, and I just thought it's a no-brainer. I've got to go. And obviously, I knew it wasn't going to be easy, and it was a bit of a challenge, because obviously then you had. I always remember playing against Ferriby, and it was always tough against Chris Boulder and Russ Fry. So I always remember playing against them a lot, and I always remember them being good players, and you knew you were up for sort of a battle with them. So obviously, when I went, I knew my play wasn't really guaranteed either, so I knew I had to work hard to get in the team. So.
Yeah, so obviously your first season was a pretty good season, mate. Obviously winning the treble. Yeah. So was sort of like winning the league the ambition from the start? Is that what sort of drove you to join the club?
Yeah, I think mostly it was a change, and like you said, I think Ferriby wasn't league contenders really at the start of the season. Nobody ever said that.
Yeah.
I think a change to me, and sometimes when you sign for clubs, obviously they want to win the league, but it's a case of when you get there and how you're playing, and then can you do it? But I think Ferriby were kind of underdog. Everyone started, maybe, and then it kept going, didn't it? And then it was just us battling it at Hendersford all season, and it was a good really, wasn't it? If you look back at it, it just doesn't.
It was such a great season. How good do you think that squad actually was? How
Yeah,
far do you think that squad could have gone?
it was a good squad, and I think Bill did very well because he had obviously a lot of the old team there as well, and he had a lot of new players come in, and the lads were great. Obviously, Footy, Russ Fry, Chris Boulder, Bradders, and it was just a good. We kind of gelled as a squad, and it were obviously. We didn't think we could when we went into games. I mean, in the end, when we got Ant Wilson in, didn't we? And
Yeah.
you couldn't see us really losing, could you?
I remember Ant Wilson's debut. I think it was away at Nantwich, and he scored twice. And I thought, wow, this is something special here. And it was like the extra piece of the jigsaw, really.
Well, and Bill asked me about Ant because he was at Alfred and he was having a bit of a bad time with manager, I think. And I was like, if you can get him, you know what I mean? You're onto something there because you've got good strikers already. But if you add him, he gives you something totally different.
Yeah.
And when he played against Nantwich, it didn't surprise me because when he was on loan at Matlock from Alfreton, when I was at Matlock, we were top of the league. We had him and Rosanna up front. So in the Evo stick, if you've got a good strike force, you've got every chance. And like I said, we had Brothers, we had Jack Muldoon. If you look at that strike force they had that season, we had Jack Muldoon, Bradshaw, Ant and Kendo.
Yeah, ridiculous.
I mean, you don't realise how good it is at the time, do you? But
no, it's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Yeah. So obviously that season was such a fantastic season. So when did you think the treble was possible? When along the line did you think, God, this squad could really do something this year? And obviously it ended up doing.
Well, I just like I said, we didn't really get carried away in the dressing room. I think it was like it gets a bit of an habit when you're winning games, and we just every game we thought we had a good, you know what I mean, a good chance, and what did we either? We just went to gel on the pitch. And we didn't have a good start that season, if you remember. We had the first 5 games were iffy, and then we just sort like hit a good spot, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely.
We won that trophy. What we won that season?
So we won the league. We won the Dudson Cup and the East Riding.
Yeah, that's East Riding. Yeah. I remember the East Riding Cup. Yeah, because I didn't start that game actually. It was after we'd won the title, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He played the kids.
Yeah, rightly so as well. I think he was Kendo off, didn't he? After about 20, I remember sitting on the bench and he's saying he's going to bring Kendo off 20 minutes. But if I remember rightly, Kendo actually went out Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and the game was Tuesday, wasn't it?
If we know Kendo well enough, he will have done.
Yeah, he did. But like I said, it was that was just the icing on the cake, wasn't it, at the end? But the league was the objective of the team the whole way through, because we knew obviously if we went up, the club were in a point then where there was like we want to sort of go places. So you're obviously resetting now, aren't you?
So yeah, it's weird. I think it's going to be a long time until we see those sort of days. But
they'll come back eventually. I mean, Les, the good thing you've got now is Les is back, and he's Mr. North Ferriby, isn't he? And
he is.
He's a great chairman, and obviously I love working under him. And he'll work hard for the club and hopefully get some times back.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. We're working towards it, mate. We're working towards it.
Right,
Go on then, Ash.
I'll let you have the second of these questions, Sam, because I know you're gagging for it. But one of the big games that season was obviously the away game at Hensford. What can you remember from that game? The 3-2 victory in March.
Yeah. Is that was where? Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I only played first half, I think. If I remember rightly. Yeah, and Wilson scored.
Yeah, he scored.
Yeah.
He scored 2, didn't he, on Wilson? Yeah,
he was on fire that day, wasn't he? Absolutely on flames that game.
Yeah, and he got the assist for Kendo for the first one, I think, as well.
Yeah, obviously that was top at table clash, wasn't it? I do remember. I think I was carrying an injury that game, but I remember starting the game and I think come off after about 30 minutes. But I just remember obviously watching on and you're just thinking we've got a right chance here, because I remember that centre half, was it? I can't remember what he was called now, but he would get up against Dan, and every time he played against Dan, he just couldn't deal with him.
Francis.
What was he called? Sorry.
Francis.
It might be. But I just remember he must have had nightmares about, and obviously we had Kendo up front who were rapid as well. It was. I remember it being a big win, because I think I remember having probably about 10 Budweisers on bus on the way back.
Yeah. We all had a good day that day. It was, but we knew how important that one was, really, because I think I'm right in saying we ended up winning it on goal difference from Hensford in the end. And obviously it was just us and them, a bit like we've seen in the Premier League recently, like Liverpool, Man City. There was just 2 teams that were miles better than everyone else. And it was like,
it was good. Yeah, it was good to see them go up as well, wasn't it, Hensford, to be fair, because they went up that season. And I think it was deserved that they did, to be honest.
Yeah, it was such a 2-horse race all season. So the right 2 went up.
I remember we had a lot of banter with them on social media, I think.
Yeah. That was your heyday, Sam, wasn't it?
They didn't like me in them days.
But I don't know if you on the Sunday when their playoff final was. No, it wasn't. On the Sunday when we went out after we'd won the league, I think we tweeted them a picture of the lads saying all the best in the playoffs, which was a bit hard to be fair.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's a good one.
Fantastic.
But yeah, it was a bit harsh, but I think we'd had enough all season anyway. So I think I don't know who sent it, but it definitely won't me.
There's one game I have to ask about from this season. Now, we had a remarkable away record that season. It was, I think we set club records and league records and all sorts for wins away from home in a year. But one for me was Chorley, which I've mentioned before. Down to 10 men thanks to Steve Ridley in the first half. Absolutely pissed it down all game, and then you've somehow put a fucking screamer in the top corner in stoppage time to win 1-0. I'll always remember that game.
It was an unbelievable game, wasn't it? I think obviously Rids, it was 2 bookings, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the space of not very long in the first half.
Well, yeah, obviously it wasn't funny at the time, but it was like first 10 minutes, wasn't it? First 10 minutes. And we had obviously 10 men, and like I said it. I remember he played up front on his own, didn't he? I keep going back to him, and he played up front on his own, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember it just falling sweet. It was a wet day, and obviously hit it. And then I just remember us all celebrating in the corner. And actually, Billy ripped his suit as well.
That doesn't surprise me.
He was funny because I remember him walking off the pitch going like that. Wasn't he? Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing the pictures. Yeah.
They were big bollocks, he kept saying.
Typical Billy, that.
You know, that one was amazing. I remember that. I nearly fell down them steps on the terrace in celebrate, because it had literally chucked it down all day, and it was a terrible, awful day. And you're thinking, oh well, we've got a decent point at 0-0. We've been down to 10 men for so long, and then that just popped up. And I had you remember with them golden goal things they used to do?
Oh yeah,
like a minute on for when the goal. I had the one that said no goals, so 0-0. So I was gonna win, and then you popped up with that, and I was like, I'll take that. I'll take the 3 points.
Yeah, you'll take it. I remember it. Yeah, it was an half volley, wasn't it? I think it was an half volley.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good day. That the bus journey was brilliant again. I mean, I used to love the bus journeys to the games. I mean, I used to basically we used to meet at a pub. I'm obviously Sheffield way. It used to be at Yellow Lion, this pub, and my house was probably a mile away, mile and a half away.
Yeah.
And I purposely used to walk to the Yellow Lion, obviously to the car school, so I didn't have to drive.
That's probably why the away form was that good that year, just for the buses back.
I know, yeah. And I used to literally walk, or even away trips, I used to walk to this Yellow Lion, so I didn't have to drive. Because obviously you've been on the bus, everybody, haven't you? And
yeah.
It was chaos, wasn't it?
It was.
That was all the good team spirit we had, I suppose.
It was, definitely.
Yeah, I used to remember the good old days of Nathan Pete trying to get people on the microphone and keep singing. Also, God, yeah.
Yeah, you'd have Pete, and obviously he was a big character, and we had some real good characters in there, didn't we? And you could sit anywhere on the bus, and you get on. I mean, I used to sit next to Martin. I used to sit next to Martin, didn't I?
Little Martin.
David Jason. I used to sit next to him.
He was.
But yeah. So.
That season was amazing. Are there any other games that sort of stand out to you as sort of being really memorable within that season?
That season, obviously the last. I remember the last game, obviously, because I remember us being nervous for that game, and obviously we knew we had to win, but it's not as easy as that. And I just remember the last game more or less. I remember my first goal. We played Frickley at home. I remember that was when we were struggling first 5 games.
Yeah,
I remember that goal. But yeah, I think last game of the season. I don't think there was any real. I remember we played Endersford at home that time, and it was carnage. I think
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you've spoken about this before. The referee
Billy got sent off, didn't he?
Billy got sent off. Yeah.
Did he get sent off? I just remember it being chaos on the pitch, and everyone was just arguing about something. I can't remember what it were about, but I remember going in bar after, and it was. I think Bill had to go to the FA or something. Something had been said.
Yeah.
Said or something.
Yeah.
Like to the referee, I think. I think something like derogatory had been said to the ref, and they were saying you're gonna have to go to FA, and it's quite serious and all that. And I was thinking, oh my God! But I think Les probably sorted it all out with his big sweeping brush.
You know what he's like. He can get you out of any shit, can Les? Bless him.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So obviously, I'll just do this last one before I go back to Ash. But what was sort of, obviously we've got Chris Bowles as our manager now. What was it like sort of playing with him, and could you sort of see the managerial side of his game, and when he was off the field, how did you think he would become a manager in the future?
Yeah, definitely. Him and his brother Adam are similar. Plenty of time for them both. Obviously nice kids for one, and I just think very knowledgeable, Chris, about the game. And I mean, I've not played under him, but I can't imagine him to be a rant and a raver. I can imagine him to be very calm, and it obviously, I like you said, I think he'll do well. I really hope he does. I always look out for Ferriby results now.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've seen you've done well in Vars, and then it's just all that's happened this year, isn't it? It's been a nightmare.
Yeah, it's been a ridiculous year, mate. It's just been a bit of a whirlwind, really. But yeah, Chris and Rob are doing a fantastic job. The boys will agree with me.
Yeah, and
Robbo's
good as well. Robbo's a good lad as well, isn't he?
He is, yeah. He's a great lad as Robbo.
But
very
yeah,
knowledgeable.
You're right about Chris. He very rarely gets the hairdryer out. You know, it's only when they've played really, really shit that you see that side of Chris. He's more methodical and thoughtful as a manager, and very, for the level we're playing at. We've said he's very tactically astute.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not a ranter and a raver on the touchline. Definitely not.
Obviously, from where I'm looking in, it's one of them. The league you're in is one of them you just need to get out of, and you'll be fine. Like if you have the same squad you've got now, and you're in the league above, you'd probably go up in that league. It's just
We've said this will be the hardest promotion, haven't we? We've said that from the start.
Yeah,
the hardest one to get out of.
Yeah, because obviously I haven't played that level, but I can just imagine. I've seen games in it, and some of it's a bit unknown. Like, well, I just look at your squad, and I think obviously you were doing well this season, weren't you?
Yeah. It was not close to go up. Yeah.
But it is a different sort of level, isn't it? I mean, obviously I'm playing at Newark at the minute, and that's basically like being one league above, like what you're in at the minute, and it's all similar. And some of the stuff that happens in the games is like, how has that happened? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But which you've probably had a few of them moments, but
yeah, definitely.
You've got a good squad. I really do hope you do well. The only problem in them leagues is you always get like another team that's going for it, and it's like you and them all the time, isn't it? It's not, and you probably tougher games are at the top. Then definitely you could probably go for some teams that are nowhere near. But you'll get up. You'll get up there.
Yeah, 100%. Right, we'll go back to you, Ash.
Okay, so moving on a little bit. So get promoted to the Conference North. What was the transition like from the NPL to the Conference North? Was it a big step up, or was it not as big as you thought it was going to be?
No, I think it is a big difference, to be fair. But the difference what we had was, I mean, Bill had to make some big decisions that year, didn't he? And he bought a lot. He bought a lot of players in.
Yeah.
And what he bought? Who did he bring? Jarmo, Matt Wilson. Did he bring Matt Wilson, Honey?
Yeah.
Who else was it? Matt Wilson. No,
JD. Was that when Josh Wild came, or was that later?
Josh Wild come later on. JD brought as well, didn't he? Good player.
Yeah, we love JD. We love JD on this show.
I think what it was is it kind of, no one was ever really comfortable that they'd play. Do you know what I mean? I mean, even myself, when they'd signed JD, I thought, right, I've got to get back in the team again. Do you know what I mean? Even though we'd just been promoted, so everyone was on the toes.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you get too comfortable, you end up going the other way. Which is, I can see why. But he bought some good players. I just remember the first game with Gloucester. It was Gloucester at home, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I remember it just being a bit more intense. And I remember Jarmo. Yatesy brought in as well, didn't he? I remember Jarmo hitting a ball that went straight in. Can you remember that shot he hit? And it just went like a dart in corner.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I just thought, that's like
some player we've signed.
That's different. You know what I mean? The technique, and I thought, well, that's obviously a step up. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And then obviously we had good players again. So it was the second, didn't we, that season?
Yeah. Obviously disappointing.
Yeah.
It's definitely, without a doubt, the most probably disappointed I've been in football. That last game we played Boston.
Yeah.
It wasn't the last game. We was ahead, weren't we? We dropped points, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was the last game, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was when Hurney got
yeah.
Hurney got sent off for battering Ricky Miller, didn't he?
Yeah, I just remember that's probably the most disappointing I've ever been, because I kind of knew that we'd lost it because the squad was hanging by a thread.
Yeah.
We're all carrying knocks, and I just remember that we were like so close because I think if we win that game, we win league.
Yeah,
Clark, he had a shot, and I'm sure it nearly went clock dance or something. And it was 0-0, I think, and he had a big chance. And then we didn't. I think keeper made a good save or something, and then obviously we had that with that Ricky Miller, and there was obviously no worse a team to beat us, really.
Definitely.
Because they were running around in the cup final.
The big pitching version.
Yeah, I remember the pitching version, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't understand why they wanted to beat North Ferriby so much.
They're a weird club, mate. They're a weird club. They always have been.
That spurred us on. I used to love playing against them. I used to love it.
We certainly got our revenge on them in the seasons to come, which we'll get to.
Definitely, we did.
You've just touched on it a little bit, Kingy, about the not going up, but what was the playoffs like against Guiseley? Do you think we just run out of legs and run out of steam?
Yeah.
Those
We played a lot of games. We had a good running. Did we have a good run in the trophy that year as well?
We got knocked out by Gosport.
Yeah, we got knocked out by Gosport.
We'd had a good running trophy. Probably done all right FA Cup. Then we've got all games. You basically get to end and you're hanging on by a thread. And I think Guiseley were the informed team. They come late. So it's probably the worst team for us to play. We always struggled against Guiseley, I think. I always particularly remember myself like not looking forward to guys games, but thinking obviously it's going to be a tough one because of how they played.
They're a good side.
But like I said, we had. I think Ant didn't start the first leg, did he?
No.
And then I got injured. I remember trying to play. I come in Thursday and there was like putting acupuncture in my Achilles or something ridiculous. And I was like convincing myself I could play in the next game. I was injured pre-season, the following season. It was that bad, the injury, and I was trying to play a couple of days after Guiseley.
I know. It was ridiculous.
I was actually out for a few months with that injury, but we didn't have a JD come back. It was his first game after he broke his leg.
Yeah, because he broke his leg in the East Riding Cup, didn't he?
Yeah,
if I remember rightly.
And to go into that sort of game after, it just shows where we were at, didn't it? It just wasn't right. But it was disappointing because it petered out. But that game, it was the Boston game that killed us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I remember that, and that first leg at Guiseley, when those of us that was there watching, just saying this team's they've hit the wall.
Yeah,
and I think
you could see it, couldn't you? You could see it.
Yeah. I got that feeling. We were just defeated, weren't we?
Yeah. Well, obviously, the season after is probably the most memorable in any season ever for Ferriby and any fan or player of Ferriby. So obviously the league season we don't really need to talk about because it was a nothing season really in the league. But obviously the big thing was the trophy. So when obviously we all know that the run. First of all, I've not got it on my list here, but I'm going to ask you anyway. The Boston game. So we was 1-0 down, I think, in the original game. We had a man sent off, and then Adam Nicklin saves a penalty to keep it.
Oh, yeah.
And then Kendo equalised. And I think, how did you then get yourselves up to think, right, we're going to go to Boston on a Tuesday night and we're going to knock them out here? Because obviously it was still the early rounds of the trophy, so you're not thinking about Wembley or anything really, but it's just another game.
Just because it was Boston, I think. Honestly, the lads,
Yeah.
I couldn't stand them. Honestly, I don't know what it was. I mean, we didn't like Dents and that. They were all there. The thing I couldn't get my head round with Boston was they used to do that ridiculous boom shout, didn't they?
Yeah.
But they were just as bad as us. They didn't play. They didn't play either. Like, obviously, I always when I went to Halifax, I was actually in a car school with Scott Garner. Because they had a lot of banter, obviously, prior to going together to Halifax. Yeah. Me and him come to blows, didn't we? At the place.
Yeah, I remember that.
We're good mates now, but I obviously just we got so much stick at Halifax because it was like you finally come to where you're going to win trophies. Do you know what I mean?
Unbelievable.
But like I said, I remember he missed the penalty. Yeah, when we played him at home, he missed the penalty. So then we played him away, and then St. Just I think, and we
yeah.
And then obviously early rounds of any trophy, you don't start believing until you get a few more in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it was. Sorry to butt in on you, I think it was Ebbsfleet when we started believing that we actually had a chance at going far. Obviously, we had that long slog of a 0-0, and then we get a penalty in the last minute, and you do what you do best, and took the penalty away. I think that was the moment where we saw the character in the side, and we thought, yeah, they were over last year.
Yeah, I mean the penalty. The two I'd been asking about penalties because Jarmo was injured, and I was scoring quite a lot then, wasn't I, like in open play. So I had a lot of confidence. So I'd actually missed before I took that Ebbsfleet penalty. My last two penalties I'd missed, one for Matlock and one at Ferriby in that Dewsden Cup. So when I was taking it, I was thinking I've missed the other two, but Bill didn't know that. And obviously, it just went from there. I couldn't miss after that, could I? Really?
No, definitely.
It was just. I think it's confidence in football. Confidence is huge, and I honestly just couldn't see myself missing when I was stepping up. Just had like a bit of a knack, didn't I? And the left side.
Some amazing penalties that year. Obviously, there's other ones later on as well. So, as you were going through the trophy rounds, then obviously, like you say, Ebbsfleet was the quarterfinal. Like, did thoughts go back to the year before where you thought, "Wow, we've got another chance again here because we blew it the year before, really, against Gosport"?
Yeah. I thought that was our best chance the year before.
Yeah.
Because I thought we beat Woking at home and then we beat Lincoln away, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we were just playing unbelievable, and then we got beat to Gosport, didn't we? Oh.
Yeah, and there weren't many big sides left in it either, I don't think, if I seem to remember.
But I think Ebbsfleet quarters, was it?
Yeah.
So Ebbsfleet quarters, and then when we obviously they were the draw, weren't they? They were Grimsby, Wrexham.
Yeah.
Bath.
There were some big teams.
If we could have picked anybody, it'd have been Bath, wouldn't it? But I think for me that when we won the trophy, I think when you started thinking we had a good chance was at Farnborough, because we were shocking.
Yeah.
Adam Nicklin, I've no idea how he saved off. He was unbelievable that game, wasn't he? We just awful, but we come into it second half and ended up winning quite comfortably. I think Alan Boulder come on and controlled the game for us.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But obviously, it was funny that trip because every Ferriby player will tell you about that trip. It was the first overnight stay for us, and we just got loaded with food. I mean, Tom Denton, he will anything that's free, he will put as he can. So I remember we had a pre-match meal, and I think it was late. It was about 12:30. So obviously, we had food on the plate. Everyone was the same, and just felt. But yeah, it was. I think when we won that, I think we thought, right, we're back involved again.
Yeah, fantastic. I'll let you two talk about the Bath games as you were there. So
yeah, I'll go first just with this, and then Ash can ask about Bath. But what was it like? Obviously, you get into the bigger games now. Just being the captain in them moments and knowing that we're edging closer and closer to Wembley here. And
yeah, I mean, after the first one, obviously it was nerve-wracking, to be fair. I just think when you're that close, you just don't want to put a foot wrong. You want to get there, don't you?
yeah,
we had a great start, didn't we?
Yeah.
Unbelievable that game, I think. He loved it like that cup, didn't he? The FA Trophy. He was good. I think when we got that second, I thought we made it, and then in terms of not made, I just thought that's us now. You basically can only give it away, can't you? And sometimes you can only give it away that early. It's hard to hold on to it. It's easier if you score late on, but like I said, I think we ended up with Grayo taking goal kicks, didn't we?
Yeah, he was struggling, wasn't he? Was Adam?
Oh, it was a nightmare, and it was on a slope, I think, if I remember, and we just couldn't get out. But if you'd have said 2-2 at the start of the game, we'd have snapped their hand off, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
So it come back. We ended up at a good result for us, and like I said, brought them back to our place, didn't we? And we got off to a bad start. But I think if I remember rightly, at extra time we were the ones pushing, but then Russ got sent off, didn't he? Was that right? Someone get sent off?
Russ, you're the memory here. I'm pretty sure he did, didn't he?
I think Russ got sent off at some point. But he wasn't.
Is he all right?
Just one second.
I'm struggling a bit, boys, but I'm still here.
Did Russ Fry get sent off in that Bath game?
Oh, I've got a tester for you.
He might have done,
I think he did.
He might have done.
I think he did.
I remember them missing a sitter in extra
I'll
time,
have a quick Google.
right near the end.
It was second bookable, I'm sure it was. He definitely got sent off in a big game in extra time, one game. I remember it, and I think it was that game. Because we were on top. We were on top at that point.
Yeah, and again it had been another one of your penalties, because you mentioned, I think it was Nick McCooty that scored for them like 3 or 4 minutes in, and you think overall we've gone from 2-0 up to 3-2 down in this time now, and then Dent's got pulled over in the box, didn't he?
Yeah.
Obviously he stepped up again, and then again in the shootout. What do you remember of those scenes on the pitch? I mean, I remember having a picture with you myself, but those scenes on the pitch afterwards were just so special, weren't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously it's not just. Obviously, it's further. Everybody was obviously ecstatic, weren't they? Because you've got people who's worked football-wise all their life to try and get to Wembley. not a lot of players get to play there, do they? I mean, I know it's changing now, and there's loads of like FA Cup semi-finals and that there, but you kind of work to that, don't you? And the club had obviously been there before, hadn't they? But they didn't win. Was that right?
Yeah, 97 they lost to Whitby in the Vars final.
Well, yeah, and like you said, it was massive at Chairman. So it was just relief, really, because you just want to get there, don't you? You're desperate to get there, and obviously, soon as St. Just put that in, I mean, their penalties were bad, Bath's penalties, weren't they?
Yeah, shockers.
They were bad. But if you look at our penalty lineup, we had a strong lineup because obviously Jarmo was the penalty taker originally. I was taking penalties. We had Adam Boulder, who was obviously cool as you like. I think he just waited for keeper to move and just put it downside. But obviously, he wouldn't feel the sort of pressure, would he? Because he'd have probably been to Wembley about 4 or 5 times anyway.
Yeah.
But sorry, King, go on.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how long did it take to sink in that you were actually going to be playing at Wembley?
It goes so fast, doesn't it? It goes so fast. I think, like I said, it dragged from the semis to the final because as a player, I don't care what anyone says, you don't want to get injured.
Yeah.
Because it'd be devastating, wouldn't it? But the other swing of it is you want to be selected for it. So I think the form actually went up in the league before Wembley because, I mean, we went to Solihull, I think, and on a midweek and beat them.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
we did, didn't we? I remember that.
Yeah. So I think that were our last. Was that our last game before Wembley? It was, wasn't it?
I think it might have been something
I
like it was.
I remember coming out of that game feeling a bit relieved.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you
hadn't got injured.
You got through and you was fit for the final.
Yeah, and obviously we had. I mean, Adam wasn't fit, was he?
No.
God no.
No way he should have played.
He's lucky we won because he killed us in first half. He couldn't kick it to Dentz's head, could he?
No, and I think a fully fit Nicklin as well would have made a lot better fist of Louis Malt's first goal as well.
I agree, yeah. I agree. Obviously, he kept it. I don't blame him. Any player is going to try and not lay it on thick that they're injured. And obviously, Bill wanted him to play, but he's going to say he's a lot more fitter than he is, isn't he? And I think it was evident at the start of the game because he couldn't get it up to Dents, could he? He couldn't kick it that far. And obviously, it's Wembley, so we couldn't get out at all. But we obviously found another way in the end, and he ended up with the penalty hero, didn't he?
He did. He did.
Before we go into that too much, Ash, are you back with us or not?
I've also found out Russ Fry did get sent off against Bath.
Yes.
I see. Good memory.
Good memory.
I'll let you go through Wembley then, Ash, like you did with like the build-up and stuff, like you did with Sean a couple of weeks ago.
Right then. So, what was the build-up like in the weeks before the game? So, like the media duties that you had, how did you control that excitement as well alongside that?
Yeah. So we played Solihull away. I had Bill rung me and said they wanted me, Adam, Bill to go to a press thing, which I was like, I'm not confident enough here, Bill. Do you know what I mean? I've got work Wednesday, but I was like, obviously, I can't turn that down. So what happened was after the Solihull game, they picked. We had like a big Merc car pick us up like a people carrier and take me, Bill, and Adam, and it was Phil with us, I think, down to an hotel next to Wembley.
Yeah.
And we was on about, I always remember going, who's rooming with you then? I was like, well, obviously me and Adam, we're players. And then we got there was 4 passers. We all had a room each.
I couldn't imagine Billy Heath and Phil Withers sharing a room though, mate. I couldn't imagine that.
That's probably why he was asking. Probably trying to worm his way out of it. But yeah, there was 4 packers. We actually had 4 rooms, 1 each, and it looked out to Wembley. It was the Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
We went to Wembley the next day, and did the press stuff, which was like, when I'd been there, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be here next week or whenever it was. So I already had a bit of a taste for it. Whereas obviously, because when you first walk out the tunnel and you think, wow, that's amazing. But obviously, the lads that had gone down for the only day when we played, they'd not obviously had that initial buzz from the obviously walking through tunnel, apart from obviously Bowles, who had already played there. So yeah, we did that press thing, and I just remember it being a bit surreal, really. I mean, we got a lift. I got dropped off near my house in these, like, they have these people carriers. They must just take professionals round in them.
I know the type you mean.
I always remember that we went down for breakfast in the morning before this press thing, and me and Adam were stocking plate up because it were all you can eat and all that. And you had that Dean Keats come down with his Wrexham lot, and they were on all fruit and salads, and me and Adam were bacon and all. But yeah, then obviously we went down the Friday. I'm a Sheffield lad, so I didn't see the send off from Hull, but that looked unreal on the videos. Obviously, see for community and primary schools and that, which looked great. And then I got picked up M18 again, and then we went down, watched England the Friday, trained at West Ham Saturday. The funniest thing I remember about that training session is John Rudkin going in goal for the free kicks and diving.
Oh God!
With his jeans on.
Could you imagine me doing that now, boys? Doing our social media.
No, we see you playing goal side every week.
I know. It's not a good sight.
I can't recall how it happened, but I just remember him being in goal, and I just think it was hilarious because he was trying to actually save it as well.
I'd have probably had a bit of a better chance than John. I am 30 years younger than him. I hope.
He must have seen Adam was struggling, but but yeah, like you said, it were. I don't know why that happened. I can't recall. I think obviously Tom and Adam were probably doing a bit of training or whatever, and Bill were practicing some free kicks with everyone. But yeah, and then we went to watch England. Trained at West Ham, and then the waiting game from then, which was a long wait. Actually, Kell Brook. Yeah, I watched Kell Brook fight. I think Kell Brook fought someone on the Saturday night.
Yeah.
But it was pointless trying to go to sleep and get an early night because it wouldn't make a great deal of difference anyway, would it?
Nah.
I remember knock on the door. Knock on the door about, I think it was about 10:30, 11. And I was like, who is that? Because I was in the room with JD.
Yeah.
And it was Jason St. Just.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
I always remember he had a body warmer on with no T-shirt.
Who was it? Nutter, wasn't he?
Oh, one of a kind. He was like, "You got boxing on?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Oh, can I watch it?" I went, "Yeah, come in there."
Fantastic. Fantastic.
That
was.
Go on, Ash. Go on.
So, how was it leading the team out then? So it's everybody's dream to lead a team out at Wembley. How did it actually feel when it happened?
Yeah, just couldn't believe how lucky I was, to be honest. I don't know. It was just an amazing feeling. Like, it just goes so fast when you're in that moment. But I think it was everyone was nervous that game, really, and I think it showed in first half. But it was just an amazing feeling. Obviously, all your friends and family are there, and what what a turnout from Ferriby, by the way. No one knew how many we were going to get, did we? But we didn't expect that many. And that was obviously credit to the fans. And people wanted to probably look at the village because they could make history, and they did. So, yeah, it was an amazing feeling. Yeah.
France was nice, by the way. Just
stop moaning that you weren't there. He was in France, so he wasn't at the.
I'm not happy.
You're not good yet.
No.
I thought you were there.
Do you know what, mate? It's probably the biggest regret I've ever got in my life. It's probably the biggest regret I've got. I remember when I found out the score when we was in this place in France, and it was mixed feelings. I was buzzing because obviously we won, but I was disappointed because I wasn't there. And I was so jealous.
I thought you were there.
It was. Go on, Jack.
It was a school trip I was on. It was the first school trip I'd ever been on. It was, and it just so happened. I remember. I could tell you the exact point. I remembered that I wasn't going to be able to go to Wembley. I remember I was sat at the dining room table doing some homework, and I thought, "Shit, what date is Wembley?" And I said, "Fuck, that's when." I'm in France. I was absolutely gutted. So I didn't go to either of the Bath games in protest of myself.
Oh,
it was a bad point, mate. It was a bad point.
At least, like you said, there's plenty of DVDs, but it's not like being
there is. No, exactly.
I mean, I was just going to say, when you was on about leading the team out, I mean, for us, Ash, in the stand, it was just surreal for a fan, never mind for a player. I mean, I'd obviously been there before for other things, but I'm watching North Ferriby United ready to play at Wembley. And none of us really sort of knew what to expect, and obviously things weren't really going well. And I think sort of at 2-0 down, we was going, let's hope we don't get battered, or can we score a goal at least, or something. But so what was it like on the pitch at that moment? Obviously, as we discussed, things weren't really going that well. It was difficult first half, and then we ended up 2-0 down. So
when they scored, it was shit. Not a good start. And when the problem you've got is when you're playing against not a bigger club and a better side in terms of they were in Conference Prem, weren't they? Yeah. The worst thing you can do is go one behind because one down because it's hard to get back. It's not like they're not in your league. It settles them down then because they have an expectation of beating you. So as soon as they get that goal, it relaxes them. Yeah. But I just obviously we just didn't seem to be getting anywhere, and obviously it didn't help. We couldn't get up the pitch. We had him, and then obviously the second goal. I remember losing my head with ref. Because he shouldn't have waved him on. The kid who scored.
Yeah, because Josh Wild didn't know he was there, did he?
Yeah, but he's a centre midfield player, and he obviously waved him on when they were through a move. And obviously, when you watch the goal back, he should have kind of been my sort of man. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But obviously, I'm not going to go and mark him on the touchline. So I just think it was a poor time to wave him on. But then when that went in, I just think the game changer was Danny Clark, really. When he went in the middle.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Winning the penalty as well.
He gave us a boost, winning that penalty and making that run. He's just a machine, isn't he?
Yes.
And obviously St. Just was unbelievable that game, but I think it took him, Clarkey, to get the penalty that changed it all. And then from that, it were. Honestly, I thought they'd gone. I remember the first half, just before the first half of extra time kicked off, I was shouting, "These have gone! These have gone!" Because I was saying they don't want it anymore. They've gone. And I thought, and like I said, I think we'd won that, but it was a great strike from that Malt, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good strike.
He's obviously done well. He's a good player, isn't he? Is it Motherwell now?
Is he at Preston now? I think he came down. I think he came down into the Championship from Scotland. Yeah.
I mean, that's what you get when you play against teams that are higher, isn't it? And I think he had people looking at him then, didn't he?
Yeah.
That when it fell to him and he hit that, it was like 9 times out of 10 they're over the bar then.
Yeah, or wide, yeah.
And then you think, is it just not meant to be? Because we've done that much to get back in it. And then obviously Kendo gets the puts it ahead, and then that happened. But we obviously got through on pens, didn't we? So
describe. Sorry, go on,
Jack. Do you think as well? We've always said when we've talked about it, a big part of it was, did they get it wrong taking Dean Keats off?
100%. Yeah. I noticed a change when he come off. I don't think. Obviously, I was kind of up against him. He ran the game, but he didn't really have loads of the ball. But he just ordered people about and told them where to be, and they were so much more organised. And I remember him coming off and thinking, that's a bad change, because I was on pitch thinking that's a bad change, that. Because you just want him to sit in front and score it up, don't you? And they brought the young kid on, didn't they? Who is a good player, who's done all right, but he's not Dean Keats, is he? And it gave us a check. It was total. They had no leaders on then in the middle, and like I said, it was a big change, and I think he obviously paid price for that change, didn't he? The manager, he's actually a decent manager, and doing all right at Brackley, isn't he? So
So describe the moment to us, Kingy. You stood on the edge of the box, about to take a penalty at Wembley when you're 2-0 down. What was going through your head? How did you keep back?
Probably, honestly, this is live on BT Sport. Do not miss.
How big a bollocks did it take to not change your penalty style? Obviously, we've seen that for all of your penalties.
I knew I was going for that. I had your keeper is in now, actually, Jordan Douglas. Yeah. I had him in net in the training sessions the midweek before, and I just told him where I was going. I said, just try and save it. Just try and save it. Obviously, you're not going to stand there, are you?
No.
But I just literally, it's confidence in it. I just literally had it on lock, didn't I? And it was, I put my thought process behind it. I thought, they said he was going to get a pen, and I was
just breaking up a bit, Kingy.
Just repeat what you just said.
See if we can get you back.
You've frozen. There you go. Right, yeah. Go again, mate. Go again.
So yeah, my thought process was, I'd rather miss going for my best spot, because I know if I hit it where I want it, it's going in. So I just wanted to take it out the goalie's hands and put it in mine. So obviously you've got a risk of it going over, but majority of the time when I didn't hit the top corner, it went in the low in bottom, didn't it? So I just said to my mates, because they didn't think I'd go for it, and I said I'm going to go for it because I'd rather miss doing what I'd do. If I went the other way and he saved it, I'd be fuming.
Yeah.
So I think he knew where I was going as well.
They say the best thing with penalties though is to have your spot picked and just back yourself and don't waver from it. So
I've obviously always done that, and I remember when I was younger, my dad actually. I remember practicing penalties with it, and I used to go the other way. I used to pass it in the bottom corner, but just imagine you're passing someone, and I don't know why I ended up going the other way. I think it was because I missed the two before Ebbsfleet.
Probably.
So I did actually mix it up a bit prior to the final and went the other way, but I nearly missed one. And I was thinking, I'm not going that way again. So yeah, obviously when it was just relief.
Yeah, can imagine. All right, go on then, Ash. Go about the dressing room. Yeah, go on.
Yes, I'm all over the place here.
You are.
So, what was your influence like in the dressing room as a captain, and how did you control the nerves of yourself and the players as well in the dressing room?
I don't know. I think there was characters in the dressing room who had more influence in the dressing room than I had, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Nathan Pete, Adam Boulder was vocal. We had like Russ Fry in there and people like that. I think I was more on the pitch, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, say my bits, but I don't think I was that sort of captain. I think Bill and Bobby had said that as well. And I remember Adam Boulder getting everybody together before we went out for the Wembley game, and he'd not won there, and he was like, "Look, don't let it pass you by," sort of thing. And that was a great, obviously, bit of info for everyone, and spurred me on. And I just, like I said, I think if you asked the lads, they'd probably say it was more on the pitch, just for working hard, and obviously looking up at the time that was on penalties, and I was looking up to keep putting them in. It felt like it was going to miss, didn't I? So
yeah. Fantastic.
They're all big penalties, weren't they? I mean, the one in quarters, one in semis, and then one in final. You couldn't write.
No, you couldn't.
And in all honesty, when I seen penalties, I thought, oh my God, I've got to have another one now.
Thought your job was done. Fantastic. So, obviously, Keith, how did it feel then? Obviously, once you'd won, and obviously it kind of sunk in a bit. How did it feel to lead the team up to the Royal Box and then lift the trophy in front of all the Ferriby fans?
Yeah, like unbelievable. I mean, I'm that sort of person. I don't know what it is. I don't really milk stuff. Like, I remember walking up and I just couldn't get up the stairs fast enough. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone's hugging people, friends and family, and I may as well be on the jog getting up to the stairs. Wanted to get a trophy. I mean, if I remember walking along and I cringe every time I watch it back. It's like Les comes to shake me hand. I shake Les and Jill's there, and I'm literally like high-fiving him. I just wanted to get the trophy, and then obviously all lads did what they should have done, and were hugging chairman and all that. And I'm not really that sort of person. You know what I mean? If I get something in my head, I just forget about everything else. And then obviously I lifted the trophy and broke the lid, didn't I?
That's not surprising. That's not surprising.
If you watch it back, when I lift it, the lid falls off, and I always think, what if it had fell the other way?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It'd have hit someone on the head.
It was a heavy old thing as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, like I said, you'd have had it. You just probably lifted it, wouldn't you? Because they brought it back to the club, didn't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was amazing, and I think that night was the. I actually said that to Miss the other day. That night was the tiredest I've ever been after a football match ever. Yeah. Just because of adrenaline.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was amazing. Obviously, the club had done brilliant. Fans were buzzing. Obviously, friends and family were buzzing. And like I said, like that game, I know I scored the penalty, but I thought I didn't play very well. I thought I didn't really have a good game, to be honest. It wasn't one of my better games, but it would just, to be a part of that was just unbelievable, and be a big part of it was even better.
Fantastic.
Well, take the credit that you let Jason send Justin into your room to watch boxing the night before and inspired him to the man of the match performance, because he was on another planet that day.
I think he finished the right back off. Honestly, I remember saying the week after, I think you have actually ruined his career. Because he was obviously at a full-time club in Wrexham, and the season after, I seen him. He was playing at Tamworth, and I thought the reason why you've had to drop is because he ruined you in that game live on television.
And he was the one who missed the penalty as well, wasn't he? It was Thomason, wasn't it?
Yeah, Steve Thomason. Yeah,
penalty from.
Yeah, it was. He missed the pen, didn't he? And I didn't want to say it, but I didn't fancy him when he was walking up because I didn't want to jinx it. I was thinking he's not going to score. I mean, like I didn't fancy Dents either. I knew he'd miss.
He's better with his head, didn't he?
No idea why he was fifth penalty taker to this day. But I'd tell him that as well. I hammer him about it all the time. But he's actually on penalties for Chesterfield now.
Is he?
I messaged him the other week and put, how on earth are you on penalties for Chesterfield?
Because it was an absolute shocker, wasn't it?
Well, he basically just told him where we were going to put it, didn't he? He would like open his body out from the 18-yard box. But I think I always remember the semi-final. He was fifth penalty for the semi-final as well. And I always remember after the game, Bill said, I'm pleased he didn't get to Dents. But Bill would always say who wants one, and it was who wanted one, which is fair play, really. So it takes a step up. And like I said, even though he missed, he's come back and he's on penalties for Chesterfield now. So
doing really well.
Fair play to him, yeah. Brilliant player, isn't he? Very one of a kind, isn't he?
He is.
But he's really, the amount of shit he's taken over the years as well from a lot of people, and the job he did in that Ferriby side was just fantastic. Yeah,
he does. He don't get, like I said, he does, because he's a big lad. He gets a lot of criticism, doesn't he? People he's actually a lot better with his feet than people give him credit for. But I think he's won a lot over now. If it didn't work out in Chesterfield, he could pick his club.
Yeah, he's a bit of a fan's favourite at Chesterfield as well. They all seem to adore him a lot. Yeah,
I can imagine. And he'd have got stick early on when he first went, and then he'll win them round. It was any club would have him probably conference to Conference North. But yeah, he's like. He's a good lad. Tightest lad in football, right?
That'll be the Huddersfield in him.
Oh, honestly, I've heard some focus from him. I've never known so much of a scrounger ever. Honestly, with a man who's doing very well as well. Yeah. I think he does it to wind everybody up.
It wouldn't surprise me with Dents. It really wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, that's such a good insight into Wembley, and obviously, it was such a good year for everybody associated with the club. It really put us on the map, didn't it? And just shows what a little village team can do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And like I said, it's made history, hasn't it? And Chairman they did everything right for us, and we obviously pleased we got the win, because I'm still talking about it now.
Yeah.
With you, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. It'll live on for a long time. It'll live on for as long as the club exists.
The players in the club, it's memories, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to hundreds of games of football and rugby and whatever, and it's obviously so vivid, that the memories. I mean, it'll be 6 years in March, and it's just. I've said a few times, I think it's one of the best games of football the new Wembley's ever seen. I mean, not that many people know about it, but what a game. It had everything, ups and downs. And to end like it did in a fairy tale penalty shootout. And obviously you mentioned adrenaline, and Adam Nicklin had one leg all that game, and then suddenly he turned into Usain Bolt when he saved that winning penalty. It was like,
yeah, because you couldn't catch him. Usually you run over to the goalie, don't you, and jump on him when he saves a penalty.
Yeah.
Or run him. Catch him.
No, I think it's someone like Louis Bruce who wasn't playing, or someone like that in a suit who tried to like hug him and that, and he just like ran straight through him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, and everyone had different reactions, but I always remember him because I remember running after him myself, trying to catch him.
Fantastic.
Excellent stuff.
Fantastic. Right, we shall move on then to the year after, which was another bloody good year for everybody connected with the club. It was the big promotion year. Obviously, how did it feel overall to be promoted from the Conference North into the conference? Obviously, you didn't stay on after that season, but it must have felt really good after the season we had before.
Oh yeah, mate, amazing. Yeah, like I said, we just carried on going. We had one focus that season, that was to get promoted. Sorry. We had a focus to get promoted that year, and what it was the playoffs. Obviously, Boston.
Yeah.
2-0 down, weren't we?
Yeah.
No better team to turn over a 2-0 thing
as well.
Yeah, and I remember that game. Dents was unbelievable.
Bullied him in the air.
Yeah, and the reason why it was unbelievable was because he was mad. Because Dents, you all know, Dents is very, you know what I mean. He's laughable, and he not laughable. I mean, he's just always full of enthusiasm, isn't he? And
yeah.
He'd always talk to centre halves and say he was all right if he elbowed one, for example. You know what I mean? Bill used to fine him actually a £5 every time he said all right. Because I used to obviously tell Bill, because I was playing quite close to Dents quite a lot, so every time he did, I made sure I told Bill, and he was fined a £5 for it. But he was mad because they was chucking stuff at his car, the fans, because there was all, what's that pub called, top of the road?
Duke Cumberland.
Yeah. He went, there was a little Tesco or something there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a co-op, yeah.
And they was chucking stuff at his car because he'd called in Tesco to get some water or something for the game. Yeah. And they were chucking stuff on his car and that, and he was fuming. And I just remember seeing that aggression in his face. He was just unplayable that game. It was unbelievable. His goal, the equaliser, right? What an header! It doesn't matter how far, great header.
Fantastic. I'll let you two carry on with this season.
So, did you think? Obviously, I think you've hinted at it, but the start of the season, obviously, you'd won the trophy the year before. I think the league would quite understandably fizzled out, would finish mid-table or something.
Yeah.
But did you think start of that year? Yeah, this squad is, we can challenge again and try and get up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think the focus of your cups. If you have good runs in the cups, it's hard to. The Wembley season, it was impossible to go up that season with the size squad we had.
Yeah.
I remember the week after we played Harrogate away, and I remember Bill ringing me up and saying, "Are you all right for the game today?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Because you'd never say you won't. I remember getting brought. The legs had just gone. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't.
Yeah.
I'd put that much into that, and I think the other lads were the same. And it just petered out. The focus was on Wembley, but obviously that season when we went up, it was purely focused on the league, and there was obviously a lot going off at the club as well, which spurred the team on more because we were such a together team. So there were rumour here, rumour there, but we wanted to go and do it. Do you know what I mean? And you don't turn a 2-0 deficit down like we did. We had it back in first 20, 30 minutes, didn't we?
Yeah.
I said after that first game, I always knew that we had a chance because they didn't like coming to Ferriby. They hated it.
Yeah.
And I just thought an early goal would have been lovely, and we got it. Got brought down in penalty again. Another. Yeah. And then we obviously got the equaliser, and then Clarkey got the winner, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah,
sure was.
So look at the season as a go on, Ash. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, I think I'm stealing your thunder here, Sam. But thinking about the whole season and then taking the playoff games away from it. So, do you have any other standout games from that season?
That game. We were top that season.
Solihull won it.
Yeah, Solihull won it.
I remember we had that good with Boston at home.
Yeah.
When we were 3-1 down, I think, or something. Well, 1-0. It finished 4-3 or something ridiculous. You remember that?
Yeah, I seem to remember that. Yeah.
But I can't, off the top of my head, I can't think. Because they all tie into one for me all season. It feels like they're all together. You probably tell me one, and I'll think, oh yeah. But
one I will say is we were talking about this last night when we was planning for this. We're saying I think Filed away that year at their old ground. We won 3-2. I think I would say that's probably one of your best games of the Ferriby shirt. To be honest, that day.
Yeah.
We won 3-2.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I scored an header, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were real that game. I remember that.
Otti scored as well, I think.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
I remember that game, because obviously Filed were that sticks in my mind when we played them at home. Actually, we beat them at home earlier on in the season, I think, and I always remember their chairman coming up to us after and say, "Do us a favour at the weekend," because we had someone who was near the top.
Yeah.
And I remember sat down with the lads with a pint of Carling thinking, hold on a minute, why are we doing you a favour? We're doing us one. We'll finish higher. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So obviously we played them away. I don't know. I think actually it would have been late on, wouldn't it? Because it was Grand National.
Yeah,
it was Grand National.
We watched the Grand National in the bar, don't we? I like my horses, so I remember that actually. I remember that game now, That's probably why I was in a good mood.
I remember the away game. I remember seeing that sign at the back of the goal, Football League 2022. No one can stop us. And then at the end of that season, the playoff final, we stopped them, and they've only gone down since.
I remember actually that game. Yeah, it was a good game. I remember playing well. I remember feeling like I just couldn't get tired.
Yeah,
just couldn't get out of breath. Yeah, I think we controlled the game, didn't we? Or did they spell second half? They had a spell second half, didn't they?
Yeah, it was I remember it being a really, really good game. I think both teams had points in it. Periods of the game, but that was one that stood out for us from that season.
I know.
The obvious ones are the playoffs, because I'm not going to lie. We were sat in that away end at that really horrible place at Boston, and we're thinking, God, what a shocking performance that was. And then to turn it round was just amazing.
Well, the thing is, that obviously Ferriby as a club is, you were stood there thinking this is rubbish. But you'd always be behind the team. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I loved it at Ferriby, and I think that's why I played my best football at Ferriby. Because obviously we had an honest team, and you understood that we wasn't purposely playing bad.
Yeah.
We obviously worked as hard as we could, and that game at Boston, we were horrendous. I always remember. But there's an interview at the end of them. There's an interview. I remember getting interviewed after that game, and Bill got an interview as well. And if you actually mirror them both, I basically said the same as him. That let's see how they deal with it at our place. because I still didn't think it were done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's dangerous 2-0 scoreline in a game. Never mind, we're 90 minutes to go still. So, and that Piagiani, that was a big miss for them because obviously should never have played that Piagiani. You know what I mean? Centre half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have played.
I know me.
Obviously, I think and well, there was no better team to beat in the playoffs, was there? Really? Like I said, I couldn't stand them. Yeah, I couldn't stand.
I think they came into that second leg, especially their supporters, thinking it was done, didn't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like a penalty for them, yeah.
I mean, Dennis Green, like a fashion show, wasn't he?
Oh, he was. He's a character, wasn't he, Dennis Green?
I couldn't understand it. He just made it worse. He made it worse for himself because it made people more determined to beat him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He brought it on himself, didn't he?
I used to go into meetings because when you're captain, you have to go in to the room before the game. I don't know if they do it anymore, but you go into like a meeting room with refs and manager and captain. And every time I was in there, I was like, he had something different on. He had something ridiculous on. I just remember just looking what he had on. I wasn't listening to what ref was saying. I was thinking, oh my God.
He was always a fan of the salmon pink, I seem to.
And that flat cap. He loved that, didn't he?
He did.
God.
Talking about the final as a whole, that Fylde game, that was one of the weirdest Ferriby games I've ever been to because it was so up and down. Like you never thought we were safe once in that final, and it got towards the end thinking, right, come on lads, get your act together, let's get through this, and we did. And the celebrations that we've got pictures up all over the wall at Ferriby. I mean, we've got personal pictures of after that day and the celebrations that came after that. It sort of capped off that like 3-year run of just brilliance from an unbelievable squad, and then obviously it was after that all the issues started coming in. So yeah, to win that playoff final, I think really sort of capped it off, especially for your time at the club.
Like I said, it obviously a tough game against Fylde. They were always a good side. We finished second again that season.
Yeah,
we did. Yeah,
it's actually like if you look at them 5 seasons, it's actually unbelievable what we did, wasn't it? Really, second, like disappointed with second, like that's unbelievable, isn't it? Like in that
North Ferriby.
Yeah, and I think finishing second was big because Fylde wouldn't have. No one liked coming to Ferriby, did they? It gets a bit of a psychological thing in the end. And they're a good side. They like to play, and I think did they go 1 up?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Danny Rose scored, didn't he? I seem to.
Yeah.
It was Sam Finley who's now
He's a really good player. He's a really good player. Sam Finley, obviously played against him a lot. Horrible little player, but good on, like I say, good on the ball. But like I said, it was just a good match, wasn't it?
It was.
It was a really good game.
We had good players as well, and I remember that. I remember who scored it. Who won it? Was it Clarkie?
Brooks equalised.
Only scored, didn't he?
Yeah,
Honey
scored the winner. Yeah.
Yeah, thinking Brooks equalised. Bowles, a bit of play from Bowles, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then only got the winner. And I remember hanging on for dear life at the end. Obviously, Dion Charles missed that chance.
Yeah, it was a sitter as well, wasn't it?
Big chance. That's when you know it's kind of meant to be. And then obviously we went up. Well, obviously won that, and then fully expected to be playing in conference next year, but it obviously didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll come. I'll let Ash cover that in a minute. But just to say, could you ever have imagined that your time at Ferriby, you're lifting the promotion final trophy to the conference with a village club like that. You'd lifted the FA trophy at Wembley the year before. It just must have been absolutely amazing.
You don't realise how good it is at the time, but when you look back at it, I always remember. I always remember someone. I can't remember what, but I always remember someone telling me that some players don't win a trophy all their career. So if you win one, make the most of it.
Yeah.
That squad, what we had, we won so many, didn't we?
Yeah, definitely.
And like I say, everyone's gone on to do really well since, which is fair play. And I think it was just a perfect fit, the club.
Definitely.
Everyone felt comfortable. We were all in the bar after, weren't we? And it not like we were unprofessional. We still, you know what I mean. But it was just like you have to go in the bar, have a drink. There was no one you wouldn't get on with in the squad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
And you all had a lot of time for the fans as well. Obviously, in days, it's hard to remember days before COVID at the moment. But when the bar was packed and things after every game, and there was always players chatting to everyone. Obviously, the Malt Shovel lads who were just legends at that time, but just everyone really, all the faces and the lads was always, it was always such a connected club from the fans to the manager and the squad together and the chairman. It was just a brilliant time.
The Malt Shovel lads, I always remember a story about them when. About the Malt Shovel pub when Billy Heath broke the news to the squad that we had the same tracksuit as last season for the pre-season friendly. And remember Pex, the goalie?
Yeah.
His was up at he said, well, mine is up actually on the wall at the bar in Malt Shovel.
Oh God.
They're good lads at the Malt Shovel.
It's on charge.
Sorry, mate.
It's a yeah, that's right.
We won't keep you too much longer. Don't worry.
No, we've had you a long time. So yeah, Walker, are you going to talk about the time after?
Yeah, I'm just going to go into that now. So we obviously win the promotion, and then you move on to Halifax. I just wanted to know how that move came about, and was it something that you expected to happen? And just thinking about how big was Billy in making you move over to Halifax?
Oh God, how long you got?
As long as you like, mate. As long as you like.
So yeah, obviously, I wanted to stay. Well, basically, it's all done now, so I can tell you. So so basically, I obviously fully expected to still be at North Ferriby. Obviously, got whiff that Bill might be leaving after the game on the actual playoff final, believe it or not. And obviously Bill didn't want to leave, but they had obviously something gone off with club, didn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Obviously Bill and Bobby loved it, Ferriby, and didn't want to. Wouldn't have wanted to move on, but they obviously did. And like you said, I knew my time was up at Ferriby when House come in, and I didn't even get a phone call. So obviously, new manager comes in, you expect him to ring your captain or get some sort of text. But to go along, well, basically what happened was I had a phone call from Steve, and he said Salford and Halifax have put bids in for you. So I obviously said I want to go to Halifax because of Bill. Obviously Salford would have been great, but that was obviously the bid would have been amazing. But obviously I'm a loyal person, and I went to Halifax with Bill, and obviously basically all its squad went, didn't they?
Yeah, a lot of them did, didn't they?
I wanted to play. I wanted to stay. I wanted to play in the Conference North, but you stay in the Conference Prem, But you don't want to play. You don't want to be getting beat every week, do you?
No.
But you did all right that season. I thought you were going to do worse than you did.
Yeah, I think we were all kind of surprised, weren't we?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they did finish bottom in the end, but that was only in the last few weeks that it got to that point. They weren't disgraced, but I think one of the things we've always said, and we would have loved to have seen, if that squad could have stayed together with Bill, and what that squad would have done in the Conference Premier.
I think without a doubt would have definitely stayed up.
100%.
Watching that league would have been fine in it. There were some very poor teams in that league when we were in there.
There was dross, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And like I said, it was a bit of a tricky situation for me because and obviously the lads that left because like myself, obviously I loved it at Ferriby. My mum and dad loved it. Like my mum and dad, I said I was coming on here earlier. Mum and dad was like, ask how everyone they are and that. And it was perfect fit for me, Ferriby. Obviously, I worked as well. I mean, you'll not know, but I used to work Saturday mornings before the game.
Yeah.
I remember turning up half an hour late for the playoff final because I'd been at work Sunday. I was driving in my van with a ham sandwich and a pack of prawn cocktail crisps.
Non-league at its finest, that.
It is, isn't it? But like I said, I didn't want to leave, but obviously Bill went, and so I followed him. So obviously Bill's been the manager that got the best out of me throughout my whole career. So I obviously went there, and I think it's evident it didn't go great. Everyone knows. Anybody who went there from Ferriby, it didn't go great because we automatically walked into a club that hated that we were on there.
Yeah. They weren't happy they'd sacked the manager, were they?
No, I don't think. I know. I mean, yeah. Because that Jim Harvey were there, wasn't he, or something?
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was happy,
yeah. Great. I mean, we had a great time. We still managed to get promoted. I mean, problem I had at Halifax personally was I was playing really well in pre-season, and I felt like a bit of a breath of fresh air because it was something different, probably for a change.
Yeah.
And then that when my back went, and then obviously I slipped a disc in my back. So I slipped a disc in my back, and then I was back on the pitch after 5 or 6 weeks. So I wasn't right. And last thing you want when you're playing captain of a big club in front of a couple of thousand fans every week is playing your first few games at 50%, really.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
Obviously, if you spoke to Bill, Billy'd tell you I had to play without. Literally, I'd have just tried to do it. Do you know what I mean? And I just give myself more time. But we got promoted again.
you had a lot of success, didn't you?
I mean, the thing is, though, it's mad though. Everybody you speak to will say they hated it there. I shouldn't mention, but the lads were unbelievable. We got a great team spirit there. Like, we still have a chat now, obviously. Sinner, bless him, obviously. Great group of lads. It was just different for us, Ferriby, because we go from having a bad game and having a chat with you at bar and saying, yeah, we'll crack on next week, to you have a bad game and you're you know what I mean, you're getting like notifications on your Twitter and that, and that, and you're just like, I'm not being funny, mate, I've been at work this morning. You know what I mean?
Exactly, mate.
I got better things to do than abuse me. But yeah, like I said, I don't think anybody wanted to move from Ferriby, including Bill, and Bobby, everybody. Sean, Elvis, Martin, nobody wanted to move. But it was just, when I left, I didn't want anyone to think that it was me who wanted to leave, or
yeah.
It looked like we were money. Like, I didn't want it to think it was money grabbing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And it really wasn't. That's why people followed Bill. Like you said, we followed. I could have got more money at Salford, but I didn't go Salford. I wanted to stay with Bill, and like I said, I just wish he'd have stayed at Ferriby.
Yeah.
Even though we got promoted the year after.
Definitely. Definitely. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we all, not going to go into all of it, but obviously we knew sort of things that were going on, and we knew it wasn't a case of players after money. It was what was going on with the club behind the scenes. But like I say, it's a whole different thing. Right, go on, Ash, because we've...
Go on, Ash, carry on.
Go on. So, obviously, you leave Halifax and then you go on to Gainsborough, and you became manager, didn't you, at Gainsborough? I just wondered how that was and how did that come about?
Yeah, interesting. Basically, my back went again at the point where I was literally, I thought I was done. Thought I couldn't play anymore. Disc again, and then I literally wrote chairman and said, cancel my contract. Because I was on a contract. I was like, look, I don't want to get paid for doing no. Like, I've been out a couple of months. I was like, that's it now. Don't want to like bleed club, like, you know what I mean, when I'm not fit. So he went, yeah, obviously, very great of you doing that. And then week after, well, I think it was only a few days after actually, the manager got sacked, and he just texted me and said, we obviously can give a ring. So I rung him and he just says, will you look after the team for a few weeks until we find a manager? So obviously I wasn't doing it. So I was like, yeah, no worries. So obviously, obviously I got on with players and that. Just went in, just thought I was doing it for a few weeks. Won first game, won second game, won third. I think won 5 on bounce. So you obviously know what happens from there, don't you? Yeah. You know, you thought, oh, bloody hell, I'm like Mourinho, me here.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think obviously in the end, when Chairman Gray says, will you take it full time? I was like, yeah. I thought, brilliant, it's going well. Too much, really. I think obviously I did have a bit of bad luck, but too much too soon. I was 31, I think.
Young to be a manager, yeah. Very young.
Very young. But I think obviously if you ask any of the players, they will say I was unlucky and we had a bit of a bad time in bit of bits and bobs been quite going our favour, but it was too much too soon, and I've learned so much from it. It's ridiculous how much into it. Obviously, different ways that I work, and I know it was a good. Obviously, games are unbelievable club to start at. People say start lower and work your way up, but I've actually learned how it is at that level. So it's good experience for me, really. And obviously, it wasn't a case of him ringing me up and saying, that's it, you're sacked. It wasn't that. I rung him up. I was like, look, we need somebody in. That's why I stayed on still. End up playing. So it wasn't like anything bad how it finished off or anything. So I still speak to the chairman and that now. I like Gainsborough to do well, even though Ferriby's got a bit of rivalry with
we have, but we've said we never minded them as much as we did as Boston. Boston we really hated. We hated Boston, but Gainsborough was more of a. I don't know. It was a rivalry, but
it was a bit of a friendly rivalry, wasn't it?
Yeah, I never got that one. I never understood that one. But I just thought Boston as a player, it was Boston. But so yeah, obviously now I'm playing again. So enjoying it. Keep going until my back goes again.
Fantastic. Right, mate. We've got one last section for you. It's only a quick one. You've been here ages. We really appreciate it.
No, well, I've covered Borges.
Say that again, mate. You've cut out.
This is what lockdown does to you. I just need to speak to somebody.
Yeah. Exactly. Right. I've got some quick fire questions for you. You can dig some of your old teammates out. So, the best player you've played with at Ferriby?
I'm Wilson.
How much has he paid you to say that?
No, it's got to be Adam Boulder or Ant Wilson.
Yeah. Most skillful player you've played with at Ferriby?
Adam Boulder.
The moodiest player you played with at Ferriby?
Probably Greg Anderson.
Go on, Greg.
Fantastic. What a legend.
Oh.
Best
player as well.
Yeah. Best trainer at your time at Ferriby?
Russ Fry. Easy.
Yeah. And the worst?
Ooh. Tom Denton.
Best away game you've ever had with Ferriby?
Ooh.
Other than Wembley.
Other than Wembley, yeah. You're not allowed to say Wembley.
Oh. Probably was that Chorley one, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's his favourite. Yeah. Favourite goal, apart from the ones at Wembley?
Favourite goal? I don't think I've got one, to be honest. Honestly, I don't think I've got one. I can't think on spot.
That's all right. I think I know this answer. Best moment as a Ferriby player?
Yeah, probably scoring at Wembley. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the worst moment?
Boston, when we lost.
Yeah.
Boston before we won league. We were trying to win league, weren't we?
Yeah. Barring Wembley, favourite ground you've played at as a Ferriby player?
I used to like playing at Stockport.
Yeah,
we had some good days there, didn't we? That first time we went there and beat
Did.
them.
Some unbelievable days.
Probably Stockport, yeah.
Yeah. The worst ground you played at as a Ferriby player?
God, they've been some bad ones, weren't they? I don't think we ever played there. I always get asked this question. I always say Glossop North End, but that was with Matlock when I played there, so I'm not sure with Ferriby which one's worst.
It's all right. We'll take that. And finally, mate, just as an overall question, how would you describe your time at Ferriby overall?
Oh yeah, I loved it. Like I said, still talking about it now. That's why I've been on here for nearly 2 hours.
Sorry, mate.
No. Well, don't apologise to me. Like I said, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, it was just success, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Success. Good lad. Good manager. Just everything about it. Good fans. So yeah, best footballing time was there. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, that's brilliant. I'd just like to say on behalf of the three of us, thanks so much for coming on tonight and giving us 2 hours of your time. So amazing memories that I'll put it out there and say we picked our all-time Ferriby 11 at the start of this podcast, the start of the season, and you were definitely in there, and we said you was our captain. So
yeah.
You'll always be our captain.
Yeah.
I bet be in there. Also, I'll be haunting you on Twitter.
You'll always be our captain, mate.
Well, I'll see you soon anyway. I might come down and watch sometime when I'm my boots up.
We'll be here.
We'll get this put out next week. But yeah, thanks a lot again. It's been absolutely brilliant. We've loved it. And
thank you very much. It's been brilliant.
Have a good night. Yeah.
Cheers, Jiggy.
See you later.
What a man.
Well,
wow.
I have to say that was absolutely superb, lads. Thanks so much to Kingy for coming on. We hope that everyone enjoys watching that as much as we did doing it. I know we did have a few audio blips at some points, but I'm sure we can forgive that. 2 hours of just fantastic insight into the best player that's ever played at Ferriby for me in our era, supporting Ferriby. A true legend in every sense of the word, and that was brilliant from him tonight.
And there are memories growing up, boys, out there. I mean, obviously getting a bit older, and we look back at that, and to just look at some of those times, talking about the Conference North years, just what amazing times and amazing memories we've got with him at the forefront of it. It's just absolutely, he's just a legend of a man, and so good to hear his story from his point of view.
And we've learned stuff from that as well. I mean, there was stuff that he said that we didn't even know happened. Definitely. So I mean, it's so insightful. And I'm giving Steve Ocean a phone call when I get off.
Definitely.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely.
He's dropped him in it there, but I think, I think he's one of them players that we'll always remember from that era.
100%.
We've joked before about the Billy Heath and Liam King statue that we want to get outside the ground. It's just
it's coming.
Absolutely,
it might be brilliant. For now.
Yeah,
and we said to Kingy, do you fancy coming on? And he was up for it, and we thought, yeah, but to get 2 hours like that, it's
just pure gold.
And we hope people enjoy it.
I'm just thinking, are we going to announce next week's yet? Or are we doing it on Twitter?
I think this might be a good time to announce it.
Well,
because we was going to suggest something, wasn't we?
You've got to think about when this goes out, though, and whether we might suggest it on Twitter. I'm trying to think, when have we got it booked in for?
Friday.
No, we'll say it on here, and if it goes out on Twitter before, it doesn't really matter, does it? We'll say it on here. So our plan is for next week's episode. Now, we've been keeping our guests secret so far through lockdown, and only revealing them when the video goes on YouTube. Now, next week, what we've got lined up for you is we've got Chris and Robbo coming on the show. Chris Boulder, Paul Robson, and what we want to do is get questions in from the audience. So it's not just going to be us three asking the questions. If you send us your questions on social media, whatever, even email, we'll pick some out. Hopefully we get a few, and we will put them to North Ferriby FC's manager and assistant manager when they join the show next week. So
I'm going to say something. You two are going to kill me for what I'm going to say. You can ask questions that are football related.
Okay, fine. We'll accept that. Ask anything within reason.
Yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah.
So that's just about it for episode 22. A show that started talking about FC Oosebridge United or whatever they're called, and then a brilliant interview with Kingy, and finally announcement of next week, and we hope people do get the questions in for Chris and Robbo in what should be another really good show. My final thing again is just to say thanks to Kingy, and as always, thank you to you two for joining me.
And to you, Samuel, as always.
Had a great
cheers, boys.
My internet wasn't great tonight, but we got there in the end.
We got there. Cheers, boys. Thanks for watching.
See you next week. Cheers.